ready? From the beauty of the mountains, PMI Ghana welcomes you to Sogakope for the 2021 PMI Conference. Learn, share, network, expand your horizon. Theme: Transforming Businesses Through Project Management and Digitalization. Date is July 29 to 30th, 2021. Be inspired to innovate all in one space. Platinum sponsors: PMI, Nocheski, Hatwa On Point, Bust. Gold sponsor: Afrisons. Silver sponsor: Baroque Ventures Limited. Virtual platform by Moxie. And powered by Eagle Eye Projects and Events.
At this point, ladies and gentlemen, going forward, we'll take our special guest speaker's address. She would address us on building power skills for the project economy. Ladies and gentlemen, to welcome her, she is the Vice President Global Engagement of PMI. Please welcome Ms. Otema Yirenkyi.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. That was such an amazing, energizing event. And what I'd like to do is, I would like everyone, whether you're virtual or here, I'd like you to stand up for a minute, if you would. Okay? And as you stand, look forward to a particular light. Okay? So do you have a light in view? Okay. And I want you to stretch and try as much as you can to reach that light. So would anyone like to share, what was that moment of lift? What did it feel like? Freedom. Okay, that's great. And what helped you to propel yourself upward? Did you use your shoulders? Was it your mind? I saw someone almost stand up on their chair, right? They were being innovative, right? So that was your power. And I want you to remember that through the presentation. What's your power? What causes you to lift up in your career and in your life? Please be seated. So I'm going to speak today about your power skills and tools for the project economy. Now, work has changed. Obviously, you all know that COVID has come, right? And we are working virtually. We're all in teams, and suddenly everything is a project, right? How you got here, how we structured, everything around you, you formulate. You're looking at risk. Should I leave at 6? Or could I leave at 7 to get here on time, right? Who are the stakeholders that you have to connect with? So everything around us is a project, and therefore we are in the project economy. So people and their knowledge and organizations, you're the most valuable asset on your team. So in the project economy, what's important? Right? It's your skills. That's really important. The ways of work. So the ways of work, whether you're going to do things in an agile way, whether it's waterfall or a hybrid, right? And teams are increasingly very important, whether you're going to coalesce for a specific project or you're going to be long-term. And, you know, those of you who do agile recognize that you put yourself into scrums, right? And you do retrospectives, and you really deliver in increments because you need to see the success, you learn, you change, and you grow. So many of you who are aware of Project Management Institute, we've always had a talent triangle. And the talent triangle is the way in which we believe you build your knowledge, right? So on the base of it, you have business acumen, right? And many of you are saying, well, I'm a project manager. Why do I need business acumen? Well, you do because you need to be able to ensure that you understand what the business's needs are. The financial implications, right? So that's critical. Then what's very important is the ways of work, right? How are you organizing to work? Is it in a waterfall way? Is it in an agile way? And that's very important. And then the power skills. In the past, that used to be called your soft skills. But we see that really power skills are not soft skills. They are the skills that lift you and transform every team. And we'll talk, and I'll double click a little bit with you on what are those power skills and then what are the tools to support you. So what you can see here, and I'm going to just look back to make sure that we're always in sync, right? So what we have here is the business acumen. Can anybody point to me to say, an entrepreneur, what's different about them? Anyone? What's different about an entrepreneur and how they address business? Right? One of the things about an entrepreneur, and you keep hearing the phrase, we really want to make sure we have an entrepreneurial mindset, an entrepreneurial spirit. And that's because an entrepreneur is focused on outcomes. They are focused on the outcome of the business. Similar to you, as project managers, you're focused on the outcomes. But with an entrepreneur, it's their business. So think about your projects as your business. If it was your business, would you take the risk? If it was your business, would you say, I'm going to do this in a incremental way? So think about your project as your business, and you are the entrepreneur to that business. Now, the other thing that's also critical is the ways of work. I'm not sure how many of you are using some of the agile principles, but how do you experience that? When you're a very agile team, you get things done quickly. So we were quite agile here, right? At this moment, we knew we had a bit of a challenge. I might have to look back a few times to make sure you're synchronized, but we're doing it and moving forward. We're not stopping and saying, let me look at the work breakdown structure. Today it was supposed to be, right? We are being very agile in the process. And the ways of work, what's also important, and I'm going to introduce, and many of you probably know, that there are different tools in the ways of work. And one of the things you can think about is design thinking. Because design thinking helps you to identify the problem, understanding what the problem is and how to resolve it. And then using technology, that's been so critical right now, right? In the ways of working. So we're using things like Teams, we're using Skype, we're using many ways to collaborate, WhatsApp, to ensure we can get the job done, even if we cannot be together. Now, the last one is around the power skills. So that completes the triangle, right? And that power skills help you to focus on the outcome. Okay, so keep that in mind as we're going through the power skills. And it's about collaboration, because we succeed when we work as a team. And one of the things that's very important, and I'll ask when we look at what the power skills are, have a look and say, what are my power skills? What is it that gives me that moment of lift for me and my team? And what we can see is that technology is what's driving this change in how we do projects, but also in the continent. I mean, some staggering, really great figures here. If you can see, the projects, the internet economy in Africa is currently $180 billion. And by 2050, what's that number going to be? It's going to be 712 billion. Okay? So what that is saying is that your projects, the work that you do, is going to be greatly affected by technology. The way you do it, how you learn for it, and even in its execution, and monetarily. So that's really, really important to understand that digitalization, it's here and it's transforming the African landscape. So how do you get ready for that? Have a look at those power skills, okay? So you think about an innovative mindset, you think about creativity, judgment, financial savvy, you think about empathy. And I just want to pause a little bit and share with you a story around a great I think, power skill that you as leaders should have. You should be able to mentor and be mentorable. When I used to be at Vodafone, we were bringing in lots of new technology, and many of the very senior people weren't that au fait with it, right? They didn't really know how to execute on it. So we brought in what we called digital ninjas. And the digital ninjas were a lot of the interns and young people in the organization who sat with a very senior person and explained the technology, but also the direction of where it's going. And let me tell you, the business units where the leader was open, was receptive to being mentored by a 21-year-old, their business units were far ahead in terms of the technology. So it is a power skill to be able to say, listen, I can be mentored and also mentoring. The other thing is empathy, right? Do you understand your customer? Do you understand your project? Do you understand your team? And what's really important, we see in high-performing teams that these skills exist. You don't want to be over-indexed on a particular skill, right? So I would invite you, when you go back, you will get these slides, have a look at them and say, for my respective team, me as the leader or as a participant, what skills do we have, right? Because that's how you are going to, what? Amplify and really lift up the team. We find, and this is an exercise I do with my teams, we assess ourselves periodically. Where are our power skills? And based on that, we're able to say, do you know what? You take on the hat of empathy, right? Because maybe everyone on the team is really pushing and there's no one who is really sitting back and saying, how are things going? Can I be a listening ear, right? And then who is focused on team building? So if you have teams that everyone is an individual, it's an I team, right? So who can, and we normally, even if we find that we're over-indexed in a particular area, we ask someone who seems to have that natural capability to take on that skill because we don't have it on our teams. So don't just focus on the methods of work, but focus on the people and their skills to get the job done. So this is something that PMI, we've done a lot of research on the power skills, and we see that helps project performance. To date, still 80% of projects globally fail, okay? And that's staggering amounts of money. So if you can take some of this knowledge and say, how do I focus my teams? Who's creative? Who's team building? Who's mentorable? Build that into, as we said, it used to be called the soft skills, but we're seeing that this is a differentiator for high-performing project teams. The next thing I want to talk to you about are what are some of the tools that the Project Management Institute is putting out to ensure that our membership and the globe is keeping step with what's happening. And one of them is around Disciplined Agile. I'm sure many of you have seen that. And it's just saying it's agility that allows you to choose your way of work. It's a structured way, and we will have discussion. We have a booth out there that you can learn a bit more. And then we have our design thinking approach, which is the wicked problem solving. Now, I said this to the product team. In the rest of the world, wicked is not a positive thing. In California, you know, with all the development teams, they always say, oh, this is wicked, it's wicked. It means it's really good. So I have said, as I've traveled the globe, most people, we prefer to just use the acronym WPS, right? So that means that is our design thinking approach, okay? And then citizen developer, those of you who are in IT, you may remember many years ago we talked about shadow IT, where people in different areas are creating applications. Well, we've now come with the support of partners globally with the Citizen Developer Framework. It's a body of information that helps you and your teams and business areas define applications, get standards and guidelines around it. So I would encourage you to have a look at that as well. So think about it. We're thinking about the ways of work in terms of the new agility, whether it's hybrid or waterfall or just agile. We're thinking about the ways you solve a problem through design thinking, and we're also thinking about how you use rapidly applications that will help your business units do very well. All right, so this just kind of clicks through Agile Reimagined, and then I talked about the wicked problem solving, and then there is Citizen Developer. Okay, so I'm going to round up my presentation by giving you a call to action. Okay, and in that call to action, I want you to really think about how are you. Thank you. In that call to action, I'm going to ask you to do the following, because I can't see it from there. So invest in upskilling your people. So you're here today, you're upskilling yourselves. Take this knowledge back to your teams, right, and upskill them. It's important. Build your business acumen. You think, I'm a project manager? Take a finance course. Understand risk. Understand earned value management. Understand the things that the business understands so that you can be a party to those discussions, right? And you understand how to more effectively execute your project. And then improve your project outcome with a mix of skills, right? It's not just project skills, it's not just leadership skills, it's not just the ways of work, it's the mix. Get it all in, right? And then a plug for PMI, leverage our credentials, our standards, and our skills to really empower you. And if you remember when we first started, I asked you to stand up. What does that give you? It gives you momentum, right? It gives you the energy. And then you started, you lifted. So you build, you leverage what you knew. You pulled together your experience and you made the reality of reaching as high as you could go. So that's how you make your reality. Build your skills, leverage your experience, take on more, and build your team and leverage those power skills to make reality. Thank you for listening.